G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. All right, so a bit of context. At the moment, I am sitting in my car. I'm in the centre of Newcastle and it is absolutely belting down rain. So if you can hear raindrops, that would be raindrops on the roof of my car as I sit here in the passenger seat trying to record this podcast episode. Because I tell you, I've got the shits. And I've got the shits more than I usually do. Yes, there's always a degree of that with me, unfortunately. But at the moment, it's definitely more intense than it has been. So more context to this episode. This week in Newcastle, like for the last 6 days, it's just been grey, it's been raining, it's been cold, it's been very, very miserable and grim. And my mood has tracked the weather just about perfectly. It's been a real difficult week. Don't get me wrong, I like the rain. I like how it's melancholic and grey. You know, I'm sort of attracted to those sorts of sad, blue sort of feelings, you know. But this week, I don't know, I just haven't enjoyed it like maybe I would have in the past. And it's been hard. It's been the 5 a.m. shifts at work, so I've been getting up in the rain, sitting on a forklift, unloading trucks, well before the sun comes up. Getting drenched while unloading trucks, which usually, though, that's the thing. Usually I would thrive in that environment and I would be like, yes, this is living as it's meant to be lived. Right on the edge, extreme, you know, look at me go, I'm so tough, world's hardest worker. But this week I've just been so irritable and grumpy and, I don't know, it's just been a write-off, a complete write-off. And it's really bugging me, especially today. Today's been quite brutal. The reason I'm out here at the moment in the rain, driving around Newcastle is because, like I said, I've got the shits. And one of my best coping strategies, one of my most adaptive coping strategies is to go for drives and sing songs. And that's what I've been doing. I'm amazed the voice is still up to it because I was belting out some AC/DC classics just then. It was unbelievable. But, you know, that's why I'm here. So that's why I'm out here at the moment. It's just on dinner time because I'm just fed up with feeling like garbage. So I thought, you know what? It won't make things worse. I'll go for a drive. I'll record a potty episode, tell everyone how I'm going, because that usually makes things feel a little bit better. As the rain is starting to really come down now, this is actually, I'm enjoying this. This is good. Thank you for sharing in this moment with me, everybody. But today, well, this week has been the same, but today has been even more so, which is these constant mood swings from, you know, not exactly 10 out of 10 happiness, but I'd say, you know, middle of the road, sort of, you know, that's the peak, has been middle of the road, pretty good. And then I will swing violently to this depressed, anxious version, which doesn't usually last very long because then I'll swing back up again to that reasonable level. Then I'll swing back down again to this really deep low. And it is a very deep low. You know, this is the stuff where I'm thinking about death all the time. What's the point of even trying? We're going to die anyway. Who cares? You know, that sort of stuff. But these mood swings, as the week has gone on, have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter. Now, when I say rapid cycling, people would probably think, oh, rapid cycling like in bipolar. But I'm talking rapid cycling as in, of moods, as in BPD, ADHD. This happened, is honestly today, it was like every 10 seconds, every 20 seconds, boom, shift in mood, boom, shift in mood, boom, shift in mood. And it's so taxing and so tiring having to keep going through that over and over again, the ups and downs. It just wears you out. You're being pulled from pillar to post. It's terrible. And this has become a real feature. It's been a feature over the last week, but also a little bit more than that. And this is why I want to do this sort of rejig of the medications, because I'm not happy with the fact that I'm having these brutal mood swings. Don't get me wrong, they haven't been every 10, 20 seconds for the whole week. But today, I'm telling you, I was going to say on this episode, like, here, there's a mood swing, there's one there, there's another one there. But what's the point? Just assume that during this time that I'm talking, and this is what's been happening, I've been doing the whole swinging thing. Literally just then, I almost stopped recording and almost deleted what I just recorded then because of this feeling that I got all of a sudden that this was rubbish and there was a complete waste of time. I've now snapped out of that and we're still going. I'm still trucking. But that is the sort of mood swings that I've had to contend with, and that's some of the mood swings that are happening here in real time. If you are listening to this episode, that must mean that I was able to push through, which is good. If you don't, well, then obviously I couldn't. That makes sense as the rain starts again. The rain and I have been totally in sync, on and off, on and off. You know, it's been freezing today, but then the sun would come out, be real warm for it, but then the rain would hit again, it'd be freezing again. The jumper was on, the jumper was off. I've just been totally out of whack. Even little things, so like me fluoro vest that I wear at work, you know, some cheap fluoro vest, who cares? But I cared this morning because I left it in the car. So I went into work, and I work at Bunnings Warehouse, you know, we sell these vests. So I just grabbed one, wrote it off, and hey, look, I've got a new yellow vest. But all day it's been bugging me that it wasn't me old yellow vest, the greasy, grimy one that I'm used to wearing, and it just felt off. It felt weird all day that I had this crisp, high-vis yellow vest on. Honestly, who cares? But I'll tell you who cares, me, in a big way. I don't know if this is some sort of autistic thing, maybe, you know, just, you know, feeling a bit off, but man, I was almost on the brink of meltdown constantly today. And when I say meltdown, I'm not talking like crying and stuff. I'm like talking punching walls and kicking doors and that sort of stuff. So agitated, so irritable. I have been all week, but today especially so. And it all started at 5 a.m. this morning when I walked into work, and I was like, God damn it, I forgot my yellow vest. Holy geez, the world's about to end. I probably could have walked over back to my car and, you know, grabbed my old yellow vest and then put it on and walked back in. But no, I didn't do that. All I did was just stew on it all day, and it just bugged me. Man, it bugged me. Even my socks today annoyed me too. I had different socks on than I normally wear. And they felt looser, and all day I'm just fixated on this idea that these socks, they don't feel right. So I'm in this crisp high-vis vest, which I don't like. I got these loose-fitting socks on. I don't know. I didn't know they were loose-fitting. I thought they were just socks. But today I was like, nah, they've lost their elasticity. I'm not liking this. So I've just been real off, you know. I've been real flushed in the face all day, real red in the face too. I've been having some of those brain zaps, which is weird because brain zaps usually happens if you're withdrawing off a medication, in particular antidepressants, which I'm not doing. So I don't know where the brain zaps come from, but boom, all day they've been there too. It's amazing though how all these things correlate. I think there's probably more than just a correlation there. I'd say they are related in some way. I just haven't quite figured out what the linkage is between all of these things. But, you know, add to the list, terrible sleep last night. Has been poor sleep all week. And that's the thing, you know, one of these sorts of things on their own is just one thing on its own. But when they start to multiply, you know, all of a sudden you get exponential growth of my rage and agitation. So the bad sleep is then feeding into more anxiety, which is then feeding into, I don't know, being on edge and being agitated, which is then feeding into, I don't know, thoughts that aren't maybe based in logic, and even some awarenesses of mine which aren't based in logic. All of a sudden, this vest thing just absolutely gave me the shits all day. This loose socks thing, you know, like if I'd had good sleep and I was in a good mood and all that sort of stuff, maybe those two things wouldn't have mattered. You know, that sort of sensory idea of what was going on today. But add it to the list of all those other little incremental things. But as I said, you put them together, there's this effect. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3. You know what I mean? There's that exponential growth of my disgust in the world. And today has been a big one for that. And again, as I just did my little rant there, I sort of felt all right, you know, doing my little rant talking about how agitated I've been all day. But then just then, bang, swung back, and I'm negative again, and I'm on the verge of deleting this episode and not publishing it. But I'm going to publish it because it's very important, because these days are becoming more and more common. And unfortunately, I do not know how to put the brakes on these days when this is happening. I think part of it too is the stimulant medication. It is like adding fuel to the fire. There is no two ways about it. The Dexies, the dexamphetamine, the Vyvanse, the caffeine, all that sort of stuff definitely accelerates these mood swings and then adds intensity to them as well. But, you know, that's the trade-off for being productive and being awake. So I was like, God, what do I do, you know? either I don't have those meds and I can't concentrate at work and can barely even make it to work because, I've got all this fatigue, can't do anything, or I slam the meds as I'm meant to, but that fuels these mood swings, these violent, brutal mood swings, fuels the intensity and the frequency of them. Like, what do you do, And then that in itself, that thought, the what do you do thought, that's agitating in itself and anxiety provoking because it's like, yeah, well, what do we do? And I don't have the answer. I can't answer myself with that one just yet. I don't know. I don't know what to do. And this is why it's going to be important moving forward that hopefully I get this medication reset because very quickly, although this goes down sort of a different avenue, and I want to pull it up here in a minute before I delete, so make sure I upload it. But before I do, I just want to say too how the medication reset will be important because the amphetamine medication, there's no two ways about it. The stimulant medication, first and foremost, is being used to keep me awake. Definitely. Attention is maybe coming second, maybe. But it's a long way behind the amphetamine being used to keep me awake. And the reason I think I'm having so much trouble staying awake is because of some of the other medications on. The clomipramine, the tricyclic antidepressant, is sedative. The Seroquel, quetiapine, of course, the antipsychotic, it's well known for being sedative. That's why I have it. And these medications are working against each other. And I can feel it. I'm telling you, I can feel it like in my head chemically. I can feel that there's this toing and throwing, this pull-push sort of feeling, and I think it's adding to the agitation, and I think it's adding to the elasticity of my moods at the moment and these swings that I'm getting, these oscillations between sort of happy and, oh my God, I'm going to die, the world's going to end, who gives a crap anyway? So that's what I've been dealing with today. And I'm annoyed too, because this week I really wanted to do the next, which I'm going to do any day now, maybe tomorrow, hopefully. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow might be a good day. If it is, I'm going to get this DBT skills episode done on opposite action because opposite action is so important to my story and I know it can help so many other people as well and want to get out there. So I've got this great episode all ready to go. I've just got to record it, just got to be in the mood to get it down, pen on paper sort of stuff, voice on recording, just got to get it happening. But for those sorts of episodes, I've got to be in a good sort of headspace to do them. And I just haven't been for the last week, last 6 days. I've been just like the weather, on and off, cold, dreary, terrible stuff. But anyway, that's the latest from me. Navigating these very fatigue-inducing mood swings. And of course, the more these mood swings happen, the more fatigued I get. The more fatigued I get, the more the mood swings happen. You know how this works. A lot of you guys go through this as well. It ain't just me that goes through this, but man, have I been going through it today. All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to like, subscribe, give the show a great 5-star rating. That'll be good for the algorithm. And you can always share it around with your mates. And you can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters. Now, I need to get home because the rain is pummeling down and I've got to get home. I've got to get to bed. Early start tomorrow. Wish me luck. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Goodbye.